All right. 803-0550. A couple people already ready to call in before we're saying anything. That usually means something big happened.
Yeah.
Question for you.
That actually did happen yesterday.
Yeah.
I wasn't waking up.
I'm putting up a Twitter poll, and we'll probably have this conversation for a while. It's the turning the page conversation. I'm sure we will, of course, talk about the events of yesterday as well. Jeremy White, Sneaky Joe DiBiase. The Twitter poll I'm starting to put up. I started to, and then I'm like, I'll just wait till I get to work. Which trait are you most seeking in the next Bills coach? Offensive mind, winning resume, leader of men. Is the fourth one relationship with Josh? Is there an obvious one that I'm missing? Offensive mind, winning. I don't want to put offense and defense in the same poll.
Right, yeah.
I could say like offensive / defensive tilt.
Relationship with Josh, I would imagine, is going to be assumed with any person that comes in.
I mean,
shouldn't it be?
I don't know. A lot of people I talk to want Clint Kubiak, and I don't know that there's much of a relationship there.
Oh, I see. A previous relationship with Josh.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, yeah. You're not saying like an ability to have one with him after he would be the head coach. Before, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
Are those the four things?
Yeah. Trying to think of what else you could pick.
Prior relationship with Josh. That leaves you Davis Webb, who also is offensive mind. That is Brian Table, who is also offensive mind, and that gives you Joe Brady. So like, some of the candidates will check two of these boxes or one of these boxes or three.
Yeah, right.
Like the leader of men. I don't know exactly who that is. That's if I want Belichick. I don't know if that's the right guy.
That's what I was going to say. Like maybe your fourth could be just experience, but that kind of is an overlap, I feel like, with leader of men.
Right. Experience, I go winning resume.
Yeah, right. Okay,
right.
Right,
I'm somebody that's done it before. I want Gruden. I heard multiple calls for John Gruden yesterday. I don't think that's going to happen. All right, I'm posting it.
All right.
Which trade are you next seeking the most in the next Bills coach? So if anybody wants to give us a thought on that, you can. And, whatever else. What's the headline from yesterday? There are multiple headlines from yesterday. It is primarily that, well, I shouldn't say primarily. Everyone's getting their own takeaway. The Bills fired, Terry Pagula fired Sean McDermott because they hit the playoff wall, the proverbial playoff wall.
Yep.
It took me until Thursday of this event happening to realize there's a whole nother conversation about it that I want to have, which is I never thought this was possible. I didn't think it would, and I mean ever, happen. I might have got on the radio in Jacksonville or Pittsburgh or wherever. Anywhere I went on for a preview. Carrington Harrison in Kansas City. He had me on before the Denver game maybe. And, hey, is McDermott's job on the line? And this is just a miss by me because I said 1,000 times it's not under consideration. Terry Pagula will never fire McDermott. I think in some station nationally, wherever, I refer to it as a Tomlin situation. Like he's going to be here as long as he wants. And they keep having good seasons. So I never, ever, ever entertained it. And because I never entertained it, I never pushed for it. And I don't mean that to say I would have been pushing hard, but if I thought it was possible, then last year I probably would have been saying, hey, Ben Johnson is a good idea right now. You know?
Right.
Liam Coen is a good idea right now. And I'm not sitting here to say like the Bills can't find a good candidate right now, but these other candidates would hit the market. Sean Payton. I used to think it was like a Sean Payton would be the only caliber of coach you would actually do it for. That they wouldn't ever do it until there was someone that was willing to take the job and like, all right, we got to move. This guy's won a Super Bowl. Like,
isn't that why we broached it like for a minute when Jim Harbaugh was looking to get back into the NFL?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Someone that actually has so much success. I remember you and I talking about it, me saying like Harbaugh wins everywhere he goes.
Right.
But I don't know if the Pagulas would want to do that. So I almost kind of left the show myself open to dismissing so many ideas because I didn't think it was possible. Turns out it is possible. And now I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I mean, I would have had a lot of conversations about a lot of people along the way. So
right.
I don't know what that does for us now, but
the only thing it does is it would almost be like, okay, you picked, it's like, who could you have picked instead of Keon Coleman type of conversation?
Right.
Like, right. I could have had Lad McConkey. I could have had this guy. I could have had DK Metcalf a few years before that instead of whoever, right? Like, you could do that, And that would get, I think, very quickly to Ben Johnson, right, from a year before. And well, what if I had done this in a different year? What if Pegula had walked around the locker room, and if you believe that this is the sole reason why they did it, he said it yesterday, that he walked around a locker room that was devastated after one of the Kansas City losses and said, okay, I think I need to do this. And then they did it, and, Ben Johnson was available. Or maybe it was the year that Harbaugh was available. How many of the coaches that have been hired in the last 2 or 3 years would people feel regret that they didn't have a chance to get?
Yeah.
If this was coming anyway eventually. If it was always on their radar to some degree.
How about if they lose to Baltimore last year? Right?
Okay,
If
right.
Mark Andrews catches the 2-point conversion and they go to overtime.
And lose.
And lose in overtime, which, by the way, is not even crazy to think.
Well, they're 0-7.
How are the Bills in the final drive to try and win a game? Not that good.
Right.
And how are they in overtime? Not that good.
Right.
If they lost to Baltimore as he fired last year, that's a reasonable thing to ask. And when the questions are asked to Pegula, well, if you had won and beaten Denver and then lost this week, what would you do? He's like, I don't want to speculate. And I actually think that it's fine. It makes sense. He had a flash in the moment decision, which I don't know if any of you have had moments, big decisions in your life like this where you're like, screw it, I'm moving to Michigan. You just might have a moment like that. Or I'm going to ask her to marry me. You might think about it for a while. You can have a snap decision and you don't think about it for a long time. I don't think that there's anything actually wrong with that. I don't think you need an extensive process as an owner to fire a coach. Emotion can spur action. And, here we are in the coach search, and we'll see where it leads. So,
Yeah.
803-0550. Right now, the early lead on the poll is offensive mind. 72% is the most important thing, offensive mind. So,
I think that's probably where I would end up, too. I don't know how long it'll take me to go from, all the fallout from McDermott and the clown show that yesterday seemed to become at the press conference. But I will be very excited, and I am already getting there, with the names that are popping up. Some of them, right?
Yep.
We don't have some of the guys that would be coaching currently still. I guess there aren't a ton of names that I'm, really, really, really juiced about. That doesn't mean that, if Dable became the head coach, I wouldn't be into it. Or if Clint Kubiak became the coach, I wouldn't be into it. But, right, I guess the Ben Johnson thing is in my head right now. That guy doesn't exist, and it kind of drives me nuts that guy isn't available right now. A candidate of that magnitude.
Just because he had multiple years of play calling.
Yes.
A great offense with a quarterback that people think is limited.
Yeah, and even,
and
for
turned
him,
around a franchise and culture along with Dan Campbell. Yeah.
And for him, even the specific story with him about how he was in a position where he was going to take whatever job he wanted because he had been passing on jobs before that.
Right.
A candidate of that magnitude. He's been passing on jobs because that's how good of a candidate he is. And that guy isn't available right now. There's not a guy that you would say, I think this is probably true, that would say no to a certain job in the league because, no, I'm waiting for the good one. I don't think Kubiak rates on that level. I don't think any of the guys with Bills connections rates on that level. I don't think Davis Webb rates on that level.
Yep.
I just don't think that guy exists. It doesn't mean they can't land on a good coach and a guy that I'll be excited about, but it's just not.
Well, part of that is
that super candidate doesn't exist.
If I think of the guys that I think are the two best coaches in football, I mean, Kyle Shanahan had called plays, and he might have been a little more this hot candidate. He's in the Super Bowl with the Falcons in one of the best offenses ever, and gets a job. McVay was not the hot candidate. McVay, listen, everybody's trying to find that McVay, right? Who's the next super genius kid? And I've often wondered if the Bills would even be a franchise that would consider anything like that. They're not going to hire this guy or this guy. What's important to them? What's important to Terry Pegula? What's important to Brandon Beane? And what's important to these two might be different, right? When Terry Pegula introduced Sean McDermott, he talked to him about him. He used the term faith-based coach. That was important to him.
Right.
That was in the introductory presser. Does that still matter to him? Because that could still matter. Mm-hmm. Does Brandon Beane say, listen, the way we've seen the league and how through the 9 years, if I'm talking to Terry, what am I saying? Listen, we had an amazing team, and we have twice, and we're about to maybe the third time change our offense because our offense is so good. We had it with Brian Daboll. We had to change to Ken Dorsey because Daboll left. That didn't work. We had to fire Dorsey for Joe Brady. Joe Brady's in Baltimore today for a job interview. Another one. Mm-hmm. So Josh is about to be on his fourth offensive coordinator, which is the kind of thing you say about bad quarterbacks because they don't do well. And in our case, it's because we have a good one. So what I'd like to do is hire an offensive play caller. That should be, Terry, at the top of our list. That's what I'd be saying.
Yeah,
let's have true continuity as a way to support our best player. And if we think we can get by with, XYZ at these other positions that we don't really invest in, one of the ways to do that is to get an excellent play caller that will always be getting the most out of what we have. So, to me, that's an easy sell, and that's where I would land as well.
And then, if you're searching for the genius offensive guy, I want to learn more about guys like Grant Udinski.
Absolutely.
Right? And, what's his background? McVay.
I love that he's on their list. He's 30.
Right.
30 and thought to be, the next level or whatever, the next guy like a McVay.
Yeah, the number of guys on their list. Let's say they end up interviewing, Webb and Kubiak, like most people expect. How many of their candidates are going to be under the age of 40? A good amount of them, right? Brady's under 40, Udinski's under 40, Webb and Kubiak, I think, would both be under 40. McVay, by the way, did have 3 years of play calling experience in Washington. I didn't realize that yesterday when we talked about it because Shanahan had left, and then he took over for Shanahan in Washington. I don't know if that went well for him there. Cousins was the quarterback, but whatever. He had done it for a few years. So that is still a thing that is a little worrisome to me, but with any of those guys, that is the thing on that poll that I would be searching for. Can I find the next Shanahan or McVay or even those two are the top of the mountain.
LaFleur.
Right? LaFleur or O'Connell or somebody that has been on that tree and is a good offensive mind in the league. I mean, maybe you want to qualify Stefanski as that.
Sure.
Or Steichen. Maybe I want a little better than that, but I want a guy on that tree just it's probably unreasonable to expect that whoever you hire is going to be standing at the top next to Shanahan and McVay.
Sure. When we watch the league, what do we do? I think a lot of Bills fans might do this. You look at a candidate that's worked with a great quarterback only. This is Ken Dorsey.
Right.
And you think, I don't know how good you are. Let's see you do it with, pick a name here. Let's see you do it with
Bo Nix.
Sure, Bo Nix. Let's see you do it with Cam Ward.
Right, Cam Ward.
Somebody like that. As opposed to a guy like Mike McDaniel or even Steichen. What Shane Steichen got out of Daniel Jones this year immediately puts up antenna for me, and I'm not sure if GMs operate this way as well or other coaches, but all right, he got Shane Steichen and he was good to go. Or Daniel Jones got Shane Steichen and looked the best he'd ever looked. And Brian Daboll got that out of Daniel Jones for a hot minute, and then things kind of fizzled. So if I see a coordinator that it's almost like the backwards version of it. Usually you have Cam Ward, and you'll say, well, look what he did with Josh Allen. Can he do that here? Mm-hmm. And instead what I now want is, this guy succeeds with middle-of-the-road quarterbacks.
Yep.
Imagine if he got a great one. And you could actually even say that maybe about Shanahan, depending on how you feel about Brock Purdy.
How about the two guys that came from Tampa in the last 2 years?
Liam Coen,
and even Canales, I feel like did Bryce Young look way better this year? He wasn't amazing. Wasn't he better, though, than anybody probably would have expected him to look?
He's been getting better, yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a real quarterback in the league now. And that was, over when he got there.
And there's obviously limitations there on some of the things he can do.
And they made the playoffs, and they were competitive against the Rams. For them, that's a success. And, he's probably a good name for this. And Coen is probably a good name for this, right? Those guys didn't win playoff games, but that's why McDaniel was intriguing to me. It's why a lot of those names would be intriguing to me. I mean, the McVay comparison, he wasn't putting together the number one offense in football with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, but can you pick out a guy that is getting a lot out of a quarterback that has limitations and you feel like has a really good scheme and a really good play calling acumen, and then you bring him in and now you have a quarterback with no limitations.
Yeah.
Does it all. Unleash, do whatever you want. Blank check as a play caller.
Right.
You can do anything you want.
He can put the ball wherever you want him to put it.
Right.
It's your job. Get a couple dudes out there and create those open windows and those easy looks.
Right. And now what does it look like?
Do what Coen just did for Trevor Lawrence. All of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence is just way better than he'd ever been.
Right.
Another receiver added, a new offensive mind. He's good to go. And that's, of course, Grant Udinski, who is there in Jacksonville too, so they're talking to him. We'll get your calls in. If you're on the YouTube chat, you can vote. Owen's put the poll up in the YouTube chat. How about that? When you're listening, you can be watching, you can be voting in polls on the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
And give us a call, 803-0550. We'll check in with Sal at 7:30. We're going to call Paul in the 8 o'clock hour. The Sabres lock up Josh Doan to a 7-year contract, which is great news. He looks like a great young player, and they trade for him from Utah and just sign him, and he's locked into the core, which is great. He looks like, I want to say he looks like not only a great core player, but a core player that isn't like a mirage. This isn't some sample size of shooting. He just the type of player he is. Sabres fans have already fallen in love.
Shooting percentage actually isn't even that high. Good. It's 13%. Like, it's totally sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get some phone calls in on the press conference yesterday, the path forward. It's all inbound, so give us a ring. Ben in Amherst is going to start us off. Ben, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, Joe. Appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to lead it off. Just a couple of things. I wanted to just address the press conference yesterday, and then just had a quick little game I wanted to play with you, if you'll allow me.
We love games.
Regarding Dean's draft and status and how bad it is compared to another organization that's pretty pathetic. So, real quick on the debacle that was yesterday that I think everyone, both here locally and nationally, would attest to. Just a couple of points. The whole thing yesterday with Pegula saying, "Oh, well, we were disappointed, and I saw the locker room, and everyone, was down." And it's like, dude, like, if they weren't down, you'd have a much bigger problem. That means your team's apathetic and doesn't care.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense. The next point I want to make on this is that, we fired McDermott because we lost the game. And then you come in and you say, and you interrupt Dean's answer. "Oh, we didn't lose the game. It was a bad call." So, again, another inconsistency. I don't know if he's delusional or he's having an issue that, not to get political, that one of our recent former presidents has had. But it's just very strange. And, I get and I appreciate the fact that he wanted to come yesterday, but clearly he should stay away because he just made it worse. And he made Bean look worse. The Keon Coleman thing, the guy's still on the team. It's bad enough to do that to somebody who's not on the team, but to just submarine the guy, say what you want about him. He's been a massive disappointment. The fact that the guy can't show up to meetings on time is a joke. Most people, if they showed up as much late to meetings or their work as he has, they would no longer be employed.
And I'm betting there'll be more about Coleman coming out. I don't mean on what he's done wrong, but this story doesn't end here, whether his agent or something, or they decide to float a trade idea, but that story's not over.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's just like I said. I think I said on Tuesday when I spoke to you guys, it's jet level embarrassment. I actually think he makes Woody Johnson and Jerry Jones look like the Rooneys. He just makes them look unbelievably good.
That might be. I might be careful about that, because what I saw yesterday, sure, people are dunking on the owner. How many owners speak regularly? The answer is not many anyway.
Right.
And I think that you might find that if they did more often, like Jim Irsay said a lot of crazy stuff over the years. Mm-hmm. And
Correct.
And Jerry Jones, it might be the kind of thing where, your own here's what I'll say, when I'm out and my own children are acting crazy, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. But other parents actually don't care about my kids. They only care about, it's normal. Yeah. So your owner kind of going off and off the cuff, that might be very normal for everybody out there. Yeah. And you feel weirdest about your own. Like Cowboys fans, when Jerry Jones does that, might be like, oh God, he's doing it again.
Yeah.
And we're over here.
Bengals fans, whenever their owner opens his mouth, that's definitely the case.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, and I appreciate that. Now, I just want to get to this game real quick. I know Pegula liked to play the game yesterday with the numbers, so I'm going to give you a few numbers. The first numbers I'm going to give you is 71 and 28. You guys know what that means?
No. Sean McDermott's regular season record.
Close. That's the record of the Bills from 2019 to 2024. That covers
the Josh Allen era?
Josh Allen draft up until 24, because I can't include 25 because everybody from 25 is going to be on the team.
Right.
Now, 15, does that have a meaning to you?
It's the number that Jack Eichel wore.
Well, that's two. That's a good one. I like that. 15 is the amount of draft picks that rounds 1 through 4 the Bills still have on the active roster from 2019 to 2024. Next numbers, 40, 59, and 1.
I don't know.
Arizona Cardinals record 2019 through 2024 and 17, other than Josh Allen's number.
Yeah, okay.
Arizona Cardinals that are currently on the active roster, 2019 through 2024, first 4 rounds. All I got to say on this is the prosecution for Brandon Bean rests, and no further questions, Your Honor. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ben, for the exercise. One thing that I'll get to throughout the day and leading into the draft, the problem with all of that is anybody trying to treat draft picks on the roster like it is any sort of currency for success or failure is missing the larger point. It doesn't matter if your team is built of all draft picks or all free agents. It only matters if you're good. It does not matter if the Rams didn't have a first-round pick for 7 years and they were good through the whole time. It doesn't matter. And you go ahead and I remember this being the case during the drought. The Bills might have had the fewest draft picks on their roster. And that looks bad. But is that because you signed someone in free agency that is so good that your 5th-round pick, your 3rd-round pick can't beat them out? Like this was this is not like an effort to defend Bean. It's just I think there are so many flaws in the evaluation of a good draft. Is a good draft just signing and retaining the pick? Like number of picks that got a second contract. Well, okay. Which contract? Like is it because the pick in the first round was so amazing that he went and got top dollar on the market, while the second round pick is just a replacement level guy and you just brought him back? Like that is not a good measure for was this a good pick. So I appreciate the exercise. The Coleman reveal from Pegula and whether or not that's good or bad for Bean is a further thing to me that reveals the absurdity of the draft itself. Because what some Bills fans are doing there is saying like, oh, Bean didn't want Coleman. He must have wanted, and then insert good player here. Did he want Jalen Polk? How'd Jalen Polk do? Does Terry Pegula have any idea what Jalen Polk has done since being drafted? Did he want a defensive lineman? He very well could have wanted the defensive lineman, but maybe the team, the offensive coaching staff said, get us a receiver. So you never know about the draft. And even finding out that Coleman wasn't top of their board, guess who else wasn't top of their board? Probably 80% of their picks.
Yeah.
They get to a spot, they look at the board, they talk about it, they pick one of the guys in a swath of 10 players. That's probably every pick.
I mean, the point there really, though, is to lead you to where are all the great players. Wait, yesterday it was said, great roster, good coaching.
It's not a great roster.
So where are all the great players? And you can just pick on the draft if you want for that, but you don't have to limit it to that. You can go to free agency.
Yeah.
You can go to all their free agent decisions and trade decisions. And I think the point remains the same. Where are all the great players for this quote-unquote great roster?
Yeah, Mike Shope asked the question about that great roster yesterday. He said, who's their 4th best player?
Because you go Allen, Cook, and Dawkins?
I guess you might go Allen, Cook, and Dawkins. You
As
might
your top 3, and your 4th is what? I mean, right now it's probably Cole Bishop.
Okay. Maybe Benford?
Right, maybe. But these are guys that make half of what the top players of their position in the league make. Benford makes $17 million a year, and the guys like Pat Surtain make $30.
Right. And
actually more than that. I think it's above $30.
The Super Bowl champions of last year have like 7 guys on that list. And the Chiefs, who had a dynasty, they've fallen off in part because one of their all-time great players has drifted off in Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, for that matter, too.
Right, and even that example, if there's a perception like, I need this all-star team around Josh Allen. You don't need to know. Give me one guy.
You need like
one guy who is definitively as the best player at what he does in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And I know James Cook led the league in rushing, but even that, he's better than Bijan Robinson.
No.
He's great, and he might be top 5 at his position in the league.
He's great to have.
But where's my Surtain? Where's my Bijan? I don't want to make it about running back. Where's my Jefferson? Where's my Chase? Where's my, where's my Myles Garrett, right? Where's
These
a
are
guy
tough guys to
on
get.
the team
Tough guys
other
to
than
get.
Allen that is the best player in the league? And they are tough to get, but when you have like 7 years to find one of
Right.
them,
And-
you should be able to land. You should be able to luck into one guy like that.
And that's where yesterday I saw we clipped me getting after Bean a little bit for saying when you have a quarterback like Josh, you're paying Josh, you have to make sacrifices. And that bothers me so much that he says that because it makes people think it's Josh's fault. In reality, it's the fault of all the guys in the middle you're signing instead. Like, Josh is not preventing you from having Micah Parsons. They have Jordan Love and Micah Parsons. Why couldn't you trade for Micah Parsons? Because you have too many contracts in the middle. Because you have too many guys you're like, he's good enough. He can stay here for a while. He can make $14 million as a tight end that we don't throw to. Yep. You know, like, there have been a lot of decisions along the way to fill the roster with middle stuff, and that's what's actually stopped you from having high-priced players. All right, a lot to get to, of course. 803-0550. I wonder what these coaches are going to ask the Bills in these interviews. The national media got after the Bills yesterday for what they did, and I thought it was earned. They deserved it. How much does it have to matter? I'm not so sure about that.